So St. Thomas recognises some intellectual virtues which shape our intellect, and then the moral virtues shape, facilitate, mould, perfect our appetitive faculties, our powers, our abilities to love and to like. So justice is the main virtue, the main strength of character that moulds our will so that we become determined to give everyone his or her due. And we have, as we noted, emotions, passiones animae, more animal drives, which are in an organic interaction with the will in the human being. We have concupiscible emotions, the everyday likes and dislikes, which enable us to live much of our lives, but they can be out of sync with reason. We have a natural liking for certain kinds of food. Perhaps we evolved with instincts to seek carbohydrate and protein and minerals, which were perhaps hard to find in the early days of the human race. But if there's too much sweet food around, we can get addicted to it. We need temperance, to temper, to hone, to fine-tune our concupiscible emotions so that they enhance our life and fit well with reason, don't run away with us, but enable us to enjoy a balanced diet and healthy relationships, and so on and so forth. Then there are the irascible emotions, those drives which are called up in challenging situations, enabling fight or flight. And of course those can be distorted, out of sync with what it's rational to do, and courage will moderate, so to speak, those emotions so that they become life-enhancing rather than impeding. So for Aristotle and for Aquinas, these moral virtues lie in a mean between two extremes. Aristotle makes it fairly clear that these virtues are a kind of life skill. He includes among the moral virtues things like wittiness, which is a mean between boorishness and buffoonery. And that helps you realize that a virtue is not a boring grey halfway stage between the black and the white, the technicolor. A virtue is much more like walking on a high ridge from which you can see the landscape between two ditches where you would wallow in the mud. Wittiness is life-enhancing, boorishness and buffoonery diminish and cramp your life. So virtues, in fact, are life-enhancing. They enable us to live well. And the mean between the two opposite vices is the mean set by reason. Sir Thomas gives us a picture of what you might call moral integrity and beauty and harmony. And therefore he follows Aristotle in thinking of the virtues as interconnected. It's possible to be a good moral philosopher and yet live badly. You can know why it's bad to commit adultery, but you do it. But you can't fully have prudence without having the moral virtues, because prudence, as we'll see more later on, involves knowing how to live, how to deploy your life. And if your wants and desires are distorted and run away with you, you can't think properly, you can't see things clearly. Your vision is clouded by distorted lusts or greed or whatever. But also likewise, you can't fully deploy incipient moral virtues without prudence. If you are naturally inclined not to eat or drink too much, and your friends throw a surprise birthday party, and you drink half a glass of wine and pick at your food, that doesn't fit the situation. You need to know what fits the situation. So Thomas gives us a picture of the integrity of the fully developed virtues, which will lead to the question we'll have to look at later. What's the bootstrap program? How do we get off the ground if they interact in this way? We can conclude this video by noting that St. Thomas, following the pagan tradition, recognizes 4 cardinal virtues, 4 hinge or overarching virtues: prudence, justice, courage, temperance, which fit the way I explained earlier. And under those, he organizes a whole range, a whole panoply of other virtues, other strengths of mind and character. A complex structure fitting a complex psyche and a complex human life. And for further reading on the cardinal virtues, I'd very much recommend Joseph Pieper's book by that title, The 4 Cardinal Virtues.